Welcome back to the Filmmaker's Blog. My name is Kevin, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Filmmakers Friday. In this episode, we are going to talk about 5 tips, yes, another 5-tip video, 5 tips to increase your production value. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video because if you incorporate all of these tips, your production value will increase. I really want to stress that in this video, I am not going to be talking about buying any new equipment. We're not talking about new cameras, we're not talking about new lenses or new audio equipment. I want to talk about the things that for a lot of films and for a lot of filmmakers are left on the back burner. And my job or my hope in this video is to take it off the back burner and put it in the front of your filmmaking mind so that you can incorporate it in your image, your next film, and increase your production value. So let's go ahead and jump into the first tip. Tip number 1 is going to be having a hair and makeup stylist. Now this is something that I haven't incorporated in my films until very recently. But when you think about it, we get very worked up about the technical image. What focal length or lens choice are we going to use that will make our image stand out, but also make our talent stand out? Which one works best with our talent's facial features? Same thing with lighting. Are we using soft light or hard light? Which one is going to make our image pop out? But with hair and makeup, we can use that as an extra tool to fix and cover up the natural flaws in our talent. And I mean, let's be real, we're all humans, we all have natural flaws, and everyone who's on screen wears makeup. From late night television to professional actors to newscasters, I'm sure you can definitely tell those guys wear a ton of makeup because it'll make you look better. And anything that will make your image look better can't hurt your film. Now, that's not the only reason why makeup is great for filmmaking. It also allows you to have more control of the look of your characters. Now, the second way to use makeup is not only adding beauty, but the beauty about makeup is that it can also take it away. For example, in my upcoming short film, The Long Walk, we had multiple sequences where our characters needed to be dirty, battered, and bruised. By using makeup, we were able to achieve that look easily, and it looks great. I mean, the combination of colors just really sells the effect and also sells the world that we're trying to portray in the film. Tip number 2 for increasing your production value without buying any equipment is in the casting. The casting is the first line of defense for realism and believability of your film. Why do I believe that? Because the character or the person who's responsible for portraying the character in your film needs to be believable. If they're not, then the film isn't believable and we are not being engaged in a world, but rather just spectating in the world. And you can argue that all movies are spectating a world, but the good ones really get you engaged and feel like you are a part of it. And the gateway to having that feeling is through the cast and believing in them. Basically, what I'm talking about is picking the right actor or actress for the job, seeing your resources of who is able to act in your film, and molding a story around them. By increasing your believability in the characters or the audience's believability in the characters in the story, you will increase a connection between the audience and your film, and therefore increase your production value. Tip number 3 is costume design. Now this is definitely one that we all kind of ignore for some reason or another, or we just think, yeah, whatever you're wearing, it's okay. I've been there many times where you're trying to throw together a production, you get the actor on the phone, you're saying, where are you? You know, rehearsal starts in 15 minutes, and they're like, I don't know, I'm on my way, what do I wear? And you're like, whatever you're wearing, just get here. Now, there's nothing that you can really change in that scenario, but it's all about planning, and with filmmaking, planning is a big part of it, and costume design should be part of that planning, because whatever your actor or actress has in their wardrobe may not be what the character would have in their wardrobe. And you need to figure out what the character should wear, even down to the color scheme, to represent their character in your story. Another example for my short film that I'm working on, by the way, this thing is almost wrapped up. We're going to be releasing it into some festivals in the next couple weeks if you're wondering. But in that short film, it's placed in a post-apocalyptic world, and the costume design is so very important for that type of story. If there was one piece of clothing that looked brand new or bought off the rack, it would totally ruin the illusion of our story. We actually went through a tough process of getting our clothes, ripping them, dirtying them, even possibly burning some of it to make it ready to be put on screen. So costume design is very important, and with the right costume design, it will boost your production value. Moving on to tip number 4, and that is music. Most of the time, we get on some royalty-free websites and try to pick out something that maybe even remotely goes with our film. So music, the right music, can really increase your production value. So what's the solution here? Well, the solution is, I've used a couple programs in the past. One of them is being FilmStro, if you've heard of it. If you haven't, FilmStro is a program where they have many tracks or compositions, and you're able to kind of reprogram those compositions through tempo, through intensity, through rhythm, and have it fit more with your film. I used this when I was making Hot Flakes last year, and another resource would be Epidemic Sound. You may have heard of that. If you've ever wondered where a lot of YouTubers get their music, they license it off Epidemic Sound. And if you don't have either of those, then what I'd recommend for you the most is to find a composer. Find someone who loves to write music and would love to write music for your film. I'm lucky enough to have a brother who loves to write and who loves to support me in my filmmaking, and we team up. I make the videos, he writes the music, and that's kind of our brother team. And if you want to learn more about writing music or the music industry in general, make sure to check out his channel. It's called Linebold, and you'll learn a ton on that channel. It's a great resource, and he's a great guy. But back to music, because you either need to license the right track or find someone who can write custom music for your film. I believe sound is at least 50% of the viewing experience for your film. I've just been in Foley for the past 2 months doing Foley on a short film, the same one I've been talking about this entire video, and it is great to see how much the image and the experience is just elevated just by the increase in layering of sound. And music is within the 50% of that experience, and having good quality music that fits your film will increase your production value. All right, here we are, guys. Tip number 5 is on-screen action. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I have 2 different meanings of on-screen action. Let me just adjust myself because we're gonna get in depth right now. The first type is called business, actor's business. So let's say we have 2 actors sitting at a table. Now they're just talking to each other. That's all the action we see. Now, actor's business would be the small things in the script that aren't really necessary but help them incorporate movement into their character and into the scene. So something could be them drinking a cup of coffee. It could be them reading a newspaper. You know, that type of business to keep it rolling. Otherwise, they're just waiting there for the other actor to respond, and that kind of dead space can be a little weird, a little amateur in some areas. Now, you don't always need to have actors' business, especially in the more intense scenes. You know, someone doesn't need to be looking through a newspaper if we're yelling at each other, but it really helps fill up dead space if you feel like something's missing or it's just kind of empty. The second type of on-screen action that can increase your production design is in the directorial realm. We take that exact same coffee shop scene, but now we have a bunch of extras walking in the background. We've just created a busyness, a heightened sense of urgency in that scene with just movement in the background. And it feels like it's a highly produced scene with more extras. That's what I'm getting at, more extras in the background. But they don't need to be like physical people. You could have 4 people in the background, just go back and forth, close to the lens so you don't even know what's going on. You just kind of see the movement. Those are my 5 tips to increase your production value without buying a single thing of equipment or without changing anything technical with your film. Let me know what you think about those 5 tips, and if you will use them in your next film, just throw a comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sometimes doesn't let you know if I upload, even though you already know it's every Friday. Take care, guys, and I'll see you next Friday.
In the front row, kicking back old school tracks like damn.